Imagine having an AI assistant capable of using the data stored in your Firebase project as knowledge base so that you can query in natural human language any information you want from your own Firebase project. Let's look at a quick demo. Here's a BuildShip workflow using the Claude Assistant node, and this assistant is capable of using one tool in the Firestore collection query node. With this node, our assistant will be able to retrieve any information we query from a jobs collection. Let's see this in action. We'll go to Test, Body, and here we're sending a message to our assistant. Give me a developer job with the lowest salary. We'll test the workflow, and shortly, we get back a response from our assistant with the answer to our question. And what's interesting is that the assistant was able to use all the data inside of our Firebase database to give us back an accurate answer. Now let's walk through how you can build this exact workflow in just 4 easy steps thanks to BuildShip. If you're not already familiar with BuildShip, BuildShip is a low-code visual backend builder. You can use BuildShip to create powerful APIs, schedule tasks, database operations, and because BuildShip provides multiple integrations with popular AI providers, it's also a great choice for building AI-powered applications. Our first step will be to clone the Chat with Firebase template. You'll be able to find a remix link in the description of this video so you can quickly get started with this template in your own project. As the entry point of our workflow, we're using the REST API called Trigger. With this, we'll be able to invoke the execution of our workflow by sending a post request to the endpoint path Chat with Firebase. Step 2. Let's go through and start configuring the Claude Assistant node. Using BuildShip's Claude Assistant node will allow us to visually give our assistant the ability to use any number of tools we want. And the powerful feature here is that we'll be able to give our assistant any tools to use in the form of the existing BuildShip nodes. For instance, in this demo, we'll be using the collection query node as part of the Firestore integration group. And there's so much more that you can take advantage of. And if you ever run into a scenario where you're looking for a node that doesn't already exist, then don't forget that you can easily generate your own custom functionality by using BuildShip's Generate with AI feature. And while we'll be using the cloud variant of the Assistant node in this demo, keep in mind that BuildShip also offers other variations of the Assistant node, such as the OpenAI Assistant, Grok AI Assistant, just to name a few. For the Cloud Assistant node, the first thing we'll need to do is select our Anthropic API key. If you don't already have this saved as part of a BuildShip secret, then you can easily create a new one by going to Secrets, Add Secret. And remember, you can always fetch your Anthropic API key by going to the Anthropic dashboard and navigating to the API keys section. Now let's explore the other fields. By passing your instructions, you can customize how you want your assistant to behave. For instance, as part of this template, we're telling our assistant that it specializes in career advice and job searching. We're telling our assistant that it has detailed knowledge of various job opportunities, and its primary task is to provide information and helpful responses to users' inquiries about jobs, descriptions, salary ranges, and other specifics. Note how we're also explicitly telling our assistant to use the tools we give it. So we're telling the assistant when the conversation is initiated, you must use the Firestore collection query tool to retrieve relevant job or career-related information such as job descriptions, URL, etc. based on the user's query. For best results, it's important that you tell your assistant when and which tools to use. And you may need to do some trial and error with this to get the right responses you're looking for. And with a little work, you should be able to get your assistant to behave precisely the way you want by providing detailed instructions. After that, we're setting the user prompt, which we get from the request body. We then specify the maximum tokens to return, the model to use, and finally, we're passing a thread ID, which we also retrieve from the request body. By passing a thread ID, our assistant will be able to maintain conversational history. Our assistant is special because of the tools and actions it can use. In this demo, we're giving our assistant one tool to use, That is the Firestore collection query node. And with this tool, our assistant will be able to intelligently retrieve information from a Firestore database hosted in our very own Firebase project. Step 3. Let's talk about databases in BuildShip for just a moment. By now, you probably know that BuildShip makes it super easy to integrate a database into your workflows by using BuildShip tables. This is a ready-to-use database solution built on top of Firestore that also comes with a database management UI. But as you'll find with BuildShip, you're never limited to just one option. For example, what if we prefer to use an external Firestore database that is part of our own Firebase project? Well, the good news is that BuildShip also supports this, and it's pretty straightforward to get it working. Let's see how. Here's my Firebase project, independent of BuildShip, and here's my Firestore database. In it, there's one jobs collection with a number of jobs documents already inserted. If we look at one job, we can see that it has a company name, a unique ID, a job salary range, a job description, job title, and job URL. This is the data we want to give our assistant the ability to access and use as context to form up its responses. The first thing we'll need to do is grant BuildShip the permission to access our external Firebase project. We'll go to the settings of our project, and we'll need to copy the service account attached to our BuildShip project. Next, we'll need to go to the Google Cloud Console and make sure the project you have selected is your Firebase project. If you're unsure which project to select, then in the Firebase console, go to Project Settings and then copy Project ID, and then back in the Google Console, you'll be able to paste this project ID and select your project from there. And with our project selected, next we'll need to give BuildShip the permission to access our Firebase project. To do that, we'll go to IAM and Admin, then we'll select Grant Access. As the principal name, we'll paste the service account we previously copied from BuildShip. Next, we need to assign two roles. The first one will be the Cloud Data Store user role. Let's add the final role, and this one will be the Firebase Admin SDK Administrator Service Agent role. And by assigning these two roles, BuildShip should now have the right permissions to be able to access our Firebase project. Now we just need to save. And that's it. Now we can start configuring our Firestore collection query node. Back in our workflow, the first thing we'll need to enter here is our Firebase project ID. Again, we can get that by going to the project settings of our project. And here's our project ID. You can just copy it, go back to BuildShip and paste it here. And next, we need to specify the collection we want to be working with. As previously shown as part of our Firestore database, we have the one jobs collection, and this is what we want to use. So we'll go back to BuildShip, and for the collection name, we'll enter jobs. We can ignore filters for now. We can ignore order by for now. And finally, let's stick with the default limit of 100. And that's all the setup, our only tool required. And finally, if we scroll to the end of this workflow, we can see that we're using the return node to return the response we get back from our Claude Assistant. And that's all there is to our workflow. This brings us to step 4, testing our workflow. To start testing our assistant-powered workflow, we'll go to Test, we'll go to Body, and here we need to send two fields as part of the request body. The first one will be for the prompt, and the second one will be for the thread ID. So for the message we'll send our assistant, we'll say, give me one random marketing job. For the thread ID, you can enter any value you want. Here we're sending test hello world. Let's test the workflow. And after a short moment, we get a response back from our assistant. And here's the response. The random marketing job I found is a content manager role at IBAN First. And then it shows us the key details of the posting. So the company name, the job title, content manager, the salary range, and then a short job description. Of course, if you're curious, you can double check this in your Firestore database, as we'll do here. And as you can see, this is the Firestore document that our assistant retrieved for us, where the company name is set to IBAN First and the job title is set to Content Manager. This is working great so far. Let's try chatting one more time with our assistant. This time we'll send the message, Give me one random developer job URL. And shortly, we get back a response from our assistant. The random developer job URL I found is for an Elixir engineer role as Superbase. And then we get the URL, and then we can preview this, which is a direct link to the job listing on Remote OK. And that's all the steps you need to take to get started with building your own AI assistants in BuildShip. In this demo, we saw how you could use the Claude Assistant node to chat with the data stored in your own Firebase project. But there's so much more that you can do with the various AI assistant nodes that BuildShip offers. We already have a bunch of assistant templates available so that you can quickly get started building your own AI-powered backends. And if you found this video interesting, then don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any of the awesome tutorials and demos we're releasing. That's all for this video, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, happy build shipping!